Okay, we are going to get started talking about your argumentative research paper. This is going to take us from week 11 through the end of the semester. I'm just going to jump in here. If you look on 11.2 under Module 11, I want to start talking about the rubric. And I have this explained here. I do not get an option of what rubric I use for this essay. I don't get to make my own rubric. I have to use what Crowder tells me to use. And so that is why your rubric makes the paper worth 700 points. Yeah. Not a fan of this decision. Again, it's not my decision. This is Crowder's decision. So this is the rubric I have to use according to Crowder. So I feel like it adds a lot of extra points to things that probably don't need those extra points. And I'm not going to walk through all of these. If you have questions about the rubric, you can let me know. But I do have some added clarification of like different things and what they mean. Those are highlighted in yellow. So like basically the content of everything in your essay is worth 360 points. The mechanics is worth 100, and then your form. So like all your MLA formatting, the way that you cite your sources, your page number. Notice you need at least 8 complete pages. That is like a non-negotiable, and if you don't get at least 8 pages, you don't get those points. You automatically lose 40 points if you don't have 8 pages. You will need at least 12 sources, and if you have stuck with the same topic since the first researched essay, then you already have 8 sources, so you're only finding 4 more for this essay. And then I tell you here how many sources you need to have. And then I tell you here that you can have 3 direct quotes. And then I do not let you have any inset quotes in the essay. So you get 3 direct quotes, and then those quotes can be no longer than 4 typed lines. So that is the limit on direct quotes here. So that's why we have 700 total points. Again, their justification is they don't want you to be able to not do this essay and still pass the class. So if you don't do this essay, or if you fail this essay, there's a good chance you won't pass the class. Okay. All right, let's look at where it says ARP Detailed Instructions. If you had me first semester for English 101, this is going to look decently similar to what we did in 101. This is a longer essay, okay? It is really long, and that's, again, really not by my doing. That's more of Crowder's. But I give you everything you need to be successful in this essay. And it's not going to open this up the way I want it to, so we're just going to pull it up on my copy. Here we go. Okay. So yours looks something like this. So this is what I give you, okay? That every single thing that you need to do for this essay is on this document. So some of you in past essays have not been following directions. So for this essay, these are your lecture notes. This document here is what you need to follow. And so if you'll just do what it says to do and follow the sample essay, you will be fine. There are a few of you who have not been able to incorporate research and evidence the way that that I have asked you to. If you can't incorporate evidence, if you don't give me a completed works cited page for this essay, you will fail. So if you are not sure how to incorporate evidence correctly and you know who you are, you need to either call me or get in touch with your high school English teacher or whoever it is that needs to help you. If we need to have a phone conference, let's have a phone conference. I will do that, but you have to contact me, okay? So for your claim paragraphs, in your claim paragraphs, you will have 3 of them, okay? And you will have 2 pieces of evidence per claim paragraph. So this is where you are finally getting to argue your side of the point, okay? Here's an example thesis. So your thesis needs to sound something like this. Okay, my sample topic that you'll find in the essay is that classrooms and school libraries should include comic books as literature because the books make difficult books easier to read. That's my first claim. The books will attract students who do not enjoy independent reading. That's my second claim. And the books can serve as a social commentary. That's my third claim. Okay, so those are my 3 claims. So this week, your job is to figure out what side of the argument for your topic are you arguing on and what are your 3 claims. Okay, those 3 claims that you put in your topic sentence, those 3 claims that you put in your thesis statement, those will become your 3 claim paragraphs that you are arguing for. And then you're going to find research that backs up what you're arguing for, okay? So then you'll have your claim paragraphs, and then you're going to have your counterclaim paragraphs. You're going to have 3 of those. Now, your counterclaim paragraphs do not have to directly contradict your claims. Your counterclaim paragraphs just need to be in opposition to the side of the topic that you are arguing. Okay, so if I am arguing that comic books should be used in classrooms and school libraries, and the opposing side is that comic books should not be used. And so that's what my counterclaim paragraphs are going to be about. Okay. Then you're going to have the refutation paragraphs. You're going to have 3 of those as well. And you might be saying, Mrs. Perigin, I've never heard of a refutation paragraph before. Well, here's what it is. A refutation paragraph is going to correspond to your counterclaim paragraphs. Okay, so whatever counterclaim 1 was about, you are going to refute that in refutation 1. Now, the order of it in the essay will be 3 claims, 3 counterclaims, 3 refutation paragraphs. Okay, so whatever you talk about in counterclaim 1, then you're going to show how that's wrong in refutation 1. Okay, and this paragraph here outlines how to set up your refutation paragraph. It's right here, and these colors correspond to the sentence type in the sample essay. So this is not going to make a lot of sense if you don't open up the sample essay. If you look at the sample essay, this will make more sense. Okay? Then you'll have your conclusion. This is what is really important here for your conclusion, okay? You need to restate your thesis. That's the first sentence. You need to summarize the main points of your essay. You need some kind of a call to action statement about what's going to happen if what you have argued for isn't acted upon. You get points just for that in the essay. So if I don't see that, you're going to lose those points. So that is super important. You have to have that call to action sentence so you can get those points, okay? I also give you a whole list of reminders for your works cited page, okay? Several of you have, oh my goodness, not had good works cited pages. Use Purdue OWL, MLA. Use this. I've got a sample works cited page on the sample paper. Use that. If yours doesn't look like mine, then something is wrong. Let's get it right, okay? There's too much points at stake here for you to not get this right. So here's a quick overview of the structure. Okay, got your introduction, 3 claim paragraphs, 3 counterclaim paragraphs, 3 refutation paragraphs, conclusion, and works cited. That is a non-negotiable. If I don't get a complete paper from you, you will lose points. If I don't get a works cited page from you, I'm not grading your paper, which means you fail, and that's in my syllabus. So you have to have a completed works cited page for this essay. And I give you a lot more helpful tips and tricks here at the end. Let's go back to Canvas really quick. Okay, here's the sample essay. Hopefully it will load. There we go. Okay, so I've got your due date, which is May 7th. So for some reason, we're still not getting this information right up here in the upper left-hand corner. Don't really know why. But it should be your name, Mrs. Perigin. So really, if you just copy and paste this over to yours, you'll have it right. The only thing different is your name, okay? And there's no extra space in between the date and the title. I don't know how many times I have to say that. There's no extra space here, okay? Okay, so here's my introduction, okay? Here's my first claim. Notice that I've got all these sentences highlighted because that's the structure I want you to follow, and it corresponds with the structure that I have here on your claim paragraphs. So I have this yellow sentence, I have a green sentence, I have a blue sentence. So if you'll read what all of these sentences mean, and you'll come back here and look at the sample one, you'll be like, oh, that's why she has them all highlighted, because I'm trying to show you how to build your paragraphs, okay? So there's the first claim, second claim. I don't have a third claim paragraph here because you've seen all 3, okay? And then notice here, this is my transition from my claims to my counterclaims, okay? You can transition that way, but you've got to have a transition statement. This statement could also come at the end of your third claim paragraph, but then you need a topic sentence to start this paragraph with that shows that opposing language of like the opponent's state or critic's claim. So that's an option of how to do that. Okay, so there's my first counterclaim, second counterclaim. I don't have a third counterclaim, but I would transition into my refutation. Okay, so here's my refutation paragraph. This directly corresponds to my first counterclaim. So I got my topic sentence, my background information. I've got my transition into my refutation. Okay, so I'm talking about my refutation here. I've got the evidence for the refutation. I'm explaining how the evidence of the refutation disproves the counterclaim. That's what this red part is for. If you don't have that, that is wrong. Okay? And then I've got my transition to my next refutation. Okay? So this is the sample essay. So if I tell you, if you send me an email that the sample essay could help you with, I'm going to shoot back and I'm going to say, go look at the sample essay. Okay? That's where to find that. Okay. Research help. So if, let's say that you're still needing some help for research, this document is going to help you with what you need. It tells you how to get into the Lee Library on Crowder. It tells you what databases to look for EBSCOhost. So this is what you need to click on to get into EBSCOhost and search through all of that. I know that some of you have had some trouble getting into EBSCOhost. Please do not wait until later on in the research process to tell me if you're having EBSCOhost trouble, because some of these articles we can find outside of EBSCOhost, but you have to communicate that with me, okay? The Purdue OWL link is listed here. If you're not sure how to cite something, go to Purdue OWL. And then this just gives you more works cited information, okay? Okay. Let's look at your evidence and source guide here. This page is super important because it tells you how many sources you can have and when you can start repeating sources. Okay, so if you scroll through here, you'll see that in your 3 claim paragraphs, you need 6 different sources. So piece of evidence 1 is from source 1. Piece of evidence 2 is from source 2, so on and so forth. You're not repeating sources. Same thing for your 3 counterclaim paragraphs. You're not repeating sources. Okay. The only time you can start repeating sources is in your refutation paragraphs. These can come from any of your 12 sources. Okay. But if I start grading and I start seeing repeating sources within these 6 paragraphs, I'm going to take off points for all of that. I'm going to take off points for the background information sentence, for the evidence, and the explanation, because you've already used that source. You can't use it again. Okay. So you've got to watch yourself there. You've got to make sure you have those 6 different sources. Or those 12 different sources for those 6 paragraphs. Okay. So that's a guide to help you see where your sources go. Okay. I've again posted the grammar and punctuation expectations document because I feel like several of you are still not 100% sure that I had that document, and I do. So if you're unsure of what I'm grading on these days, check that out. Okay. All right. Let me go over a couple more things here. Okay, this week, there is an ARP Q&A thread. It's super important for you to post whatever questions you have about that. And then you have your outline. Let's look at the outline. This is due on Saturday. So this outline, here's my sample outline. Let's pull this up. This is what yours needs to look like for your topic. So this week, your goal is to figure out for your topic what side of the argument you are arguing for, okay, and then what your claims and counterclaims are. Okay. Now on your counterclaims, you may not know what those are yet. You may have to start doing some research to figure out what your counterclaims are. And if you start out with some ideas in mind and you can't figure out, then you can't find sources to back up those counterclaims, you may have to change your counterclaims to match what sources you're finding. And sometimes that happens. So this information here, this is what I want by Saturday. I want your topic. I want your thesis, 3 claim topic sentences, and 3 counterclaim topic sentences. Okay, and if you're unsure of what that looks like, I posted my sample outline for you to see. Okay, so yours is linked here. You'll copy and paste that into a Word doc and turn that in by Saturday. Okay, I will keep posting videos. I'm going to go on ahead and post the EBSCOhost video from a few weeks ago, so you'll have that one to look at as a reminder of how to post or how to look for sources on EBSCOhost. The biggest thing that I can tell you this week is if you have questions, please send me an email. Don't assume, don't think that I'm going to think your question is stupid. The only way that I can help you is if you ask. I don't know if you have questions unless you send me an email. Okay. That is all I have for you. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you later.